Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Good morning. Happy Sunday. It's 8 a.m. on April 7th. Sarah,
we're a day away, baby.
We're a day away. And so whether
Total
you
solar eclipse.
are super excited about the eclipse, you have eclipse fatigue, doesn't matter because it's happening and it's going to impact you whether you're excited for it or not.
Hey, listen, I don't know if you know I'm excited, but check out my sun and moon dress today.
Miss Frizzle.
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
I loved those cartoons growing up.
Same.
First, though, I do want to get folks through their day today because we have some showers pushing through. These are very light and isolated. The showers are moving through because a weak cold front is moving through San Antonio. Right now, we've got a shower just outside of Leon Valley, kind of west over Hills area, closer to SeaWorld. And then up toward Austin, along that I-35 corridor, some light rain starting to push into areas nearer to Bastrop. This is where that front is. You can actually see it moving through Seguin right now at the moment. So we will be looking at a brief drop in the humidity today, which means sunshine today. So as we look ahead to the rest of the forecast, know that any rain will be in and out of here by about 10 o'clock this morning. Around noon, it'll be 74. In the afternoon, mostly sunny and 84 degrees. A tease because we are going to be seeing the clouds move back in before the eclipse tomorrow. In fact, tomorrow morning, there will be areas of drizzle in the morning hours. You'll wake up and think, wow, we're just not going to be able to experience the eclipse because of the drizzle. However, I do expect that right around the time of totality, right near 1:30 in the afternoon, it will be mostly cloudy. We are going to have clouds, but breaks in those clouds are likely in many areas around south central Texas and up into the hill country. More on that eclipse forecast coming up in a bit, but I also want to mention that there is the potential after the eclipse for a few storms tomorrow afternoon and into Tuesday as well. A detailed hour-by-hour forecast for the eclipse tomorrow coming up in just a bit. Sarah,
thank you. New this morning, 3 people are recovering from a triple shooting on the city's northeast side. San Antonio police tell us it happened outside La Bona Vida Event Center on Rye Drive in Perrin Beitel. Around 2:45 this morning, 3 people hit by gunfire were taken to the hospital. They are expected to be okay. So far, there's no word on any suspects or anyone arrested at this time. And an 18-year-old in jail this morning accused of shooting and killing another man. Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar says it happened during a meetup to buy shoes. The 18-year-old Daniel Hernandez is charged with murder, and the shooting happened around 1 a.m. Saturday morning near Loop 1604 in South Bexar County. Sheriff Salazar says the 18-year-old victim was able to give deputies Hernandez's name as he was dying. Right now, the sheriff's office is still looking for the murder weapon. If you know anything that can help, you're urged to call BCSO. That number on the bottom of your screen there, 210-335-6000. And San Antonio police are searching for who's responsible for a deadly shooting outside of a Walmart. This happening on the city's north side. Happened yesterday around 3 p.m. in the afternoon at the Walmart on Blanco Road. That's near Warsbach Parkway. So SAPD says they believe a 53-year-old man was shot after an attempted carjacking in the parking lot. The suspect, they took off, still on the run. No one else was hurt. So if you know anything that can lead to the suspect, please call police. And San Antonio police and Crime Stoppers are looking for this person on your screen right there who tried to rob a woman this week. So this happened on Thursday morning on East Commerce Street and not far from I-37 and Market Street. Police believe the person on your screen there told that woman he would shoot her if he didn't give him her purse. So the two struggled over the bag before the victim was able to get away with her belongings. So if you know anything that can help officers find this person that's on your screen right now, call Crime Stoppers. That number also on your screen, 210-224-STOP. Local nonprofits have teamed up to create a training program to help San Antonio police cadets better understand autism spectrum disorders for National Autism Awareness Month. Tiffany Huertas is diving deep into how organizations are working together to spread awareness and education.
I would describe my son as the nicest person you've ever met in your life.
Robert Peden says his son Logan was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder when he was 2 years old.
My son was diagnosed at 2 years old at Triple Army Medical Center in Hawaii when I was in the United States Air Force.
Peden's love for his son and passion for helping parents navigating autism spectrum disorder eventually led him here.
This is why we do this training.
He is part of this program that started last year. It teaches San Antonio police cadets how to respond to incidents involving people with autism. Peden works at Any Baby Can of San Antonio, a nonprofit that serves families with children and youth facing serious health or developmental challenges. The organization also provides autism support. Margarita Llamas is a parent educator in that department and believes this training can save lives.
We do give them some exercises or some situations that they actually learn how to feel what the children that have autism or the individuals that have autism, how they feel.
Any Baby Can of San Antonio says in Bexar and the surrounding counties, over 30,000 people are living with autism.
Be prepared to be.
Another organization involved in this course is Family Adventures. Nicole Santiago is the CEO.
One of my clients was unlawfully arrested, and I filed a complaint, and we had a meeting, and the police were open to us coming in to train.
Every cadet class is now taking these trainings.
We talk about different sensory needs, different communication needs. So, for example, I have communication boards I use, so sometimes if someone becomes, with their anxiety, they become non-speaking, they can use the board to point to what they want to say.
The CDC says about 1 in 36 children has been identified with autism spectrum disorder.
Autism is a developmental disability or disorder that is diagnosed in childhood, and it affects communication chiefly. It also affects social skills, sensory processing.
The training is super helpful because it helps develop a level of competency in our new officers. These are cadets preparing to become officers serving the community, and it helps them to develop relationships and to learn how to interact with really all people from our community.
Tiffany Huertas, KSAT 12 News.
I don't know if you've heard about it or not, but there's an eclipse happening tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's happening in 1 day and 6 hours, 22 minutes. It's been the countdown for, I feel like, months now, Sarah. And, Texas towns are bracing for big crowds ahead of that total solar eclipse happening tomorrow. Some shops in town that will see totality are hoping to also see a boost in sales.
Absolutely. And our Avery Everett traveled to Hondo, where small businesses are saying they're marketing the eclipse ahead of tomorrow's fascinating event.
You've been fully booked for more than a year.
Yes, we have.
Chateau Claire is catering a full house this weekend.
We have 4 bedrooms. We are adult only, and so two a bedroom.
As the eclipse is set to cross over South Central Texas in just a couple of days, this Hondo bed and breakfast used the eclipse to bring in business.
We were kind of shocked, overwhelmed, and super excited about it all.
They have guests staying from across the country.
We did the special barbecue for them tonight.
And they're not the only small business in town serving up eclipse specials to drive in sales.
Small businesses had a hard time the last year, and anything that we could get excited about was great.
Main Street Mercantile says they're marketing this celestial event.
When did you start selling these t-shirts then?
We just got them in this past week, and they've been really popular. We've been going through them, so it's been exciting.
As Highway 90 starts to fill up with people ready to see the eclipse, these shops are hoping people stop and support the town of Hondo.
And if you haven't reached your final eclipse viewing destination and you're planning on hitting the roads, TxDOT is urging all drivers to have a plan and have patience. We have tips to do so on KSAT.com. Avery Everett, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Avery. Happening today is a 22nd cyclovia where people can take to the streets, get active, riding bikes, walking, running, and not having to worry about any cars. So let's take a live look outside right now. Cyclovia will be on North St. Mary's Street. It happens twice a year, and the whole idea is to get people outside and getting active and moving. A stretch of North St. Mary Street downtown will be closed to traffic, so people don't have to worry about any cars. It starts at 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Today also happens to be World Health Day. So the shot you're looking at is right actually outside our KSAT studios because, hey, we're lucky. It's the route this year right in front of KSAT.
You brought your bike, right, Sarah?
Oh, yeah. Definitely biking back to my house today. No, I'm just kidding. We have bikes here at the station, though, if we want to go out and...
I will say, though, it's been a long time since those tires on those bikes have been filled.
Hey, we can do it. I know how to fill a bike tire.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's good.
I can fill it, one up for you, one up for me.
Well, I also know how to do it.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah, I do. So, oh my goodness. Okay, well, the time is 8:10 and it's 66 degrees outside.
I was just making sure, Sarah.
Right.
Hey, but I'm really excited for your story coming up, Sarah. Tell us a little about it.
So after the break, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the history of the last total solar eclipse in San Antonio, longer than you may think.
Very cool stuff that Sarah did there. 66 degrees at 8:11, super muggy. You see those clouds hanging around, and they're gonna hang around through tomorrow for the eclipse. Sarah's gonna break all that down for us when we come back. Well, all weekend, and for several weeks now, months, I think we've been sharing stories surrounding tomorrow's big event, from what small towns in Texas are expecting. We have lots of scientists coming to our area to research the opportunities and so much more.
That's right. But what about the history of total solar eclipses in our area? So in KSAT Explains, I tell you about the last time this type of eclipse happened here in the area we know as San Antonio, which was all the way back in the 1300s. Odds are you've seen a few partial solar eclipses in your lifetime. In fact, we had an annular eclipse in 2023 and a partial solar eclipse in 2017. But a total solar eclipse, now that is a rarity. In fact, the last time the path of a total solar eclipse passed over the area we know as San Antonio was back in 1397, 627 years ago. Think of San Antonio's history. What do you think about? Probably the Alamo and other Spanish missions. But this last total solar eclipse happened hundreds of years before the Spanish even colonized the area. So what did life look like 600 years ago in the Alamo City, before the Alamo even existed?
We have talked about historic Texas as having 11,000 streams, so the water would have been plentiful. A little bit different from today. We're struggling with that in drought, but water would have been plentiful. It would have been a bit greener.
And these waters were sacred to the native people of what we now call San Antonio in South Texas.
So today we know them as Coahuiltecans. Their tribal lands were all of northeastern Mexico and South Texas. The Payaya, Papanac, Tilihai, names associated to the bands and clans of the different families that lived in the area.
An incorrect narrative around the Coahuiltecans is that they were hunter-gatherers aimlessly wandering around. However,
what we're learning today is that it was just the opposite. It was a very high level of sophistication that just wasn't understood at the time.
And it's with that level of sophistication that the Coahuiltecans would be experiencing the eclipse in 1397. We can speculate that it would have been a spiritual experience too, because
all the celestial beings were faces of God. It would have just been a moment of validation of their belief system, of two becoming one.
In fact, there's evidence of the Spanish using these beliefs in converting locals at Mission Concepcion.
One of the frescoes up in one of the rooms shows that the two coming together, right? The sun and the moon coming together as one. It probably drew fear, it probably drew love, every emotion that human beings would have today.
On April 8th, it'll be through those human emotions that we will be connected to the people who viewed a similar total solar eclipse 627 years ago.
Sarah, I really love that you talked about that historical, spiritual aspect. Mm-hmm. You know, it's so beautiful, really.
It would have been amazing because there was no way to really predict it, and you know, it just would have been so overwhelming.
And I think that it kind of just connects us back to that time that no matter what happens with the clouds or whatever, it really brings a sense of community when people gather to watch the eclipse.
And we're going to have a lot of that community tomorrow. So you can watch our eclipse special tomorrow from noon to 2 p.m. We're going to have coverage from multiple locations like Fredericksburg, Leon Springs, Bernie, and the Rock at La Cantera, all in the path of totality. Our coverage of the total solar eclipse and everything will be live streaming so that you don't have to miss a thing. You can join us on KSAT.com and KSAT Plus.
Very excited for that.
Of course, we are going to have some clouds. But you know what? It's not the end of the world, because I do think we're going to have a few breaks in those clouds, and it's still going to be a neat experience. Even if the worst thing happens, even if it's totally cloudy, it'll still be a cool experience.
It's still going to get dark. Yeah.
Exactly. It will. It will. But let's first talk about the fact that we do have some areas of very light rain out there this morning. Take a look out toward south of Hondo. You can see a few light rain showers there in Medina County, and then nearer to San Antonio, right near Helotes, SeaWorld, Taft High School area, seeing some of that very light rain out near Reagan High School and the Rim as well. This is all because a weak cool front is moving through San Antonio as we speak. And this weak cool front, I think, is Mother Nature's little joke, because it's going to actually be pretty sunny this afternoon before the clouds build back in tomorrow. So a nice day today, 84 for the high with low humidity, north winds at 5 to 15, but humidity builds back in overnight. And that is the first thing you need to know when you're thinking about the eclipse, is when you wake up tomorrow morning, there will be areas of patchy drizzle and it'll be completely overcast. You may think, well, this stinks, we're not going to see any part of the eclipse, but you just got to wait, because right around noon into the early afternoon, that's usually when we see those lower level clouds break up. So I expect during the eclipse that there will still be plenty of cloud cover, but there will be breaks in those clouds as well. The totality occurring near 1:30 in the afternoon for those in the path of totality. And then I don't want you to let your guard down, because even after the eclipse, there is the potential for a few storms in the later afternoon and evening hours. And because it's spring, some of those storms could be on the stronger side. We'll talk about that. But first, I want to give you your eclipse forecast. Again, high clouds are a guarantee. Most of us across Texas are going to see those high, thin, wispy clouds. It's those low level clouds that are the wild card. We expect a surge in moisture early tomorrow morning. That will allow for morning drizzle, low morning clouds. But as we get closer to totality, there will be breaks in that cloud cover. The breaks will be random, all right? So you got to kind of be lucky to see a few of those breaks in the clouds, but it is likely going to happen that we will see some breaks in the cloud cover for tomorrow. So where is the best place to view the eclipse tomorrow? Well, even in Dallas, they're going to have some clouds, but better viewing up in Dallas, decent viewing through parts of Indiana and Ohio, and then the best viewing across the nation will be in New England, Vermont, up to Maine. Back here in San Antonio, these and the Hill Country, these are our options. You're either going to have a partially blocked view of the eclipse. I actually took these pictures yesterday because I think that yesterday's weather will probably be pretty similar to tomorrow's, in that, remember, we started with the drizzle, we saw cloudy skies, and then as we head into the afternoon, we had the breaks in the clouds. You can see the wispy thin cirrus clouds here, the low level clouds, and the sun just behind it. So if you get a partially blocked viewing experience, the eclipse will be visible between those clouds. Even if you don't see skies clear in your area and the sun and the moon are totally blocked, it will still be an eclipse. It will still be dark outside for totality. And, you know, the birds are going to start to act a little weird. It's still going to be a cool experience, even if you don't get a completely clear view of the eclipse. Hour by hour eclipse forecast for you. Patchy drizzle in the morning, and then we'll see some breaks in the clouds by noon. Totality will happen close to 1:30. Temperatures will drop. We're going to see at least a 5 to 10 degree temperature drop tomorrow during totality. And then in the afternoon, a few chances for storms. Speaking of totality, I gotta remind you, only half of the city of San Antonio is in totality, the north half and the western half. If you are near downtown and off to the east, as well as down to the south in Bexar County, you're not going to be in totality. Sky will still get a little dark, but it's not going to be as dramatic as if you're in totality. And totality will occur, depending on your location, any anytime from about 1:30 to 1:35. Check out the interactive map I made on KSAT, and you could actually look up your neighborhood to see if you're in the path of totality. The further you get into the hill country, the longer totality will last. As we head into the afternoon tomorrow, the later afternoon post-eclipse, we'll have a 30% chance for a few storms. It is spring. Spring means spring-like storms. So if a storm can get going, and it is a big if, it's only a 30% chance, it could become strong or severe with hail possible. And strong storms are possible on Tuesday too. Slightly better rain chances on Tuesday with scattered storms in the forecast. As we take a look at the remainder of your week, we'll be looking at relatively quiet weather from Wednesday into the weekend. And again, remember, even though there are going to be clouds tomorrow, we're hoping for a few breaks in that cloud cover. We are your Eclipse Authority. We will keep you posted.
Thank you, Sarah. All your hard work.
Of course. Have that KSAT Weather Authority app handy too, because we'll send notifications out through that.
All right, it's 8:24 and 67 degrees. We'll be right back. All right, we're going to go outside. We're looking at Dallas and North St. Mary's, but for a special reason, because that's where today's Cyclavia event is happening. It's happening along St. Mary's from Mistletoe all the way down to Lexington Avenue, and it runs right in front of our station. That's basically what you're looking at, a shot right in front of our station in Central Catholic. And Cyclavia is a time when they close the streets and kids and their families and everyone can go and play in the streets. It starts at 10 o'clock this morning. There's someone on bikes right there. So come play in the streets. It goes from 10 to 2, and you can play safely in the streets when there are no cars around. It's 8:28 and 67 degrees. We'll be right back. Good morning. Happy Sunday. It is April 7th at 8:32 this morning. Sarah, I don't know if you know, but there's an eclipse happening tomorrow.
I had no clue. I had no clue that there was an eclipse tomorrow.
Look at that Miss Frizzle space dress.
Yeah, I've got sun and moon, and yeah, we are so excited. Of course, you know, Mother Nature not cooperating totally with us. We're not going to have that beautiful, clear view of the eclipse, but I do think that folks are still going to see parts of the eclipse, which is good news.
It's going to be fun regardless, because a lot of people have gathered across Texas, like we saw Adam and Justin.
They're up in Fredericksburg.
And we're gonna show you a little story that they did for us.
They're having fun. This morning, though, a lot of people's eyes to the skies because the clouds are so cool this morning. Take a look at this morning's picture from one of our KSAT Connect users, and you can see the undulating clouds. And then off in the distance here, notice that you've actually got a few rain shafts. So there are some areas of rain. Very light showers moving through parts of San Antonio, especially western areas between Hondo and San Antonio. That's where we've got some very light rain. A weak cool front is moving through, and this weak cool front is going to allow for us to see some sun this afternoon. In fact, by noon we'll be partly cloudy. In the afternoon, 84 degrees. That sunshine, though, I wish we could copy and paste it into tomorrow's forecast, because morning clouds are going to be back as early as sunrise tomorrow, and we'll actually have patchy morning fog and drizzle before the eclipse. Now, right around noon, 1:30 p.m., when we expect totality, around 1:30, it will be mostly cloudy. There's likely to be a few breaks in those clouds, so you'll still be able to see parts of the eclipse, and even if it's totally cloudy, it'll still get dark. After the eclipse, there is the potential for a few storms. We've got a lot to unpack in the forecast. I'll have an hour-by-hour forecast for Eclipse Day tomorrow coming up in just a few minutes. Sarah.
Sarah, thank you. New this morning, San Antonio police are investigating a robbery that turned into a shooting. This happening on the city's northeast side. SAPD says 2 men attempted to rob a vape shop around 10:30 last night on North Foster Road near Old Seguin Highway. One of the employees chased the 2 men out of the store, and after a brief struggle, one of the suspects fired a gun. However, no one was hit, and 2 suspects ran off. So no injuries were reported and no arrests have been made at this time. Meanwhile, San Antonio police tell us a car slammed into a home just after midnight and the driver ran off. It happened on the southeast side at Pecan Valley Drive near Hicks Avenue. So a woman inside the home wasn't hurt in the crash. However, the house did have some severe damage to it, including a busted natural pipe. But San Antonio fire crews were able to plug that gas leak and no injuries were reported. In your morning headlines, United States is on high alert after Iran vowed retaliation for an Israeli strike that killed an Iranian military commander in Syria last week. A White House official says the U.S. is prepping for a significant attack on American or Israeli assets in the Middle East. This comes as the war between Israel and Hamas approaches a 6-month mark. So far, the death toll in Gaza since October 7th has passed 33,000 people. And a relatively new drug to treat ALS is being pulled from the shelves. Relivrio was FDA approved in September of 2022. The decision was controversial at the time. Some said there wasn't enough proof that it actually was helpful, and now a more recent and larger trial showed no evidence that the drug actually worked. The company says patients who are currently on this drug should talk to their doctor. ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease, affects as many as 30,000 people in the U.S. The total Eclipse is tomorrow, and San Antonio area is gearing up for thousands of out-of-town guests that are expected to visit. A lot of them already here, Sarah, over the weekend.
That's right. And as my colleague meteorologist Mia Montgomery shows us, she shows us how this uptick in visitors could actually help our economy.
This time around, it's going to get even better.
Here we go again. October's annular eclipse brought an influx of visitors to the San Antonio area, but even back then, hoteliers and city leaders already had their sights set on April 8th's total eclipse. Remember this?
October has some energy behind it, but the April one is sold out.
Thousands of out-of-town guests are once again expected to visit Bexar County and the Hill Country for another celestial event that truly is out of this world.
Hotels are booked out, reservations are booking up, and the list of events happening throughout the weekend goes on and on and on.
We've never had anything to compare this to, so we are anticipating to easily double to triple in population.
Leaders with area visitor bureaus like Kerrville's Leslie Jones are anticipating yet another economic boost.
We will definitely see a significant spike, definitely in sales tax and in hotel occupancy tax. So it'll be a nice little boom for our local economy.
An opportunity that isn't available to just any city in the United States, but one that's happened twice in a matter of 6 months in the San Antonio area.
It was a blessing, that comes in with having not only one eclipse, but 2 eclipses, which is incredibly rare for one only destination.
Mia Montgomery, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Mia. Here are some tips from TxDOT if you are traveling to view the eclipse. So prepare for that heavy traffic, sudden stops by drivers. Be on alert for distracted pedestrians looking up to the sky. Keep your headlights on while driving, even in the daylight.
That's right. And do not wear your eclipse glasses while driving. Might seem obvious, but you really can't see through those at all. Always keep your eyes on the road, and this is super important. Don't pull over on the shoulder of the road. Try to find another place to pull over safely, but not on the road.
Absolutely. So tomorrow's total solar eclipse will be the longest in more than a century. As exciting as it will be to be able to look at it, you have to be extremely careful.
Exactly. Even with clouds, without proper protection in watching the eclipse, it can lead to eye damage, even permanent vision loss. Ophthalmologists are telling people that protecting your eyesight is critical. You cannot use just regular old sunglasses for the eclipse. You need to have proper glasses. With the solar filter ISO, the number is 12312-2 on them, and using anything other than that filter can damage your retina and cause blind spots in vision.
Not enough to just put, eclipse glasses over. And in fact, that's actually dangerous, because if you put eclipse glasses over a telescope or, some other device, you can actually burn a hole through the glasses and lead to direct injury.
And so there's going to be other ways to look at the eclipse as well. In fact, if you need to and you want to, don't forget that you can watch our eclipse special tomorrow from noon to 2 p.m. We're going to have coverage from multiple locations, and those multiple locations may come in handy because remember, there's going to be peaks of sunshine at different places. So we'll be in areas like Fredericksburg, Leon Springs, Bernie, even the Rock at La Cantera. So our coverage of the total solar eclipse and everything will be on live stream, so you don't have to miss a thing. You can join us on KSAT.com and KSAT Plus.
Okay, Sarah, I want you to say that again. Even if we have total coverage, like all the clouds, and you look up, you still need those glasses.
You still need those glasses.
Okay.
It can still cause damage. And the thing is, even if it's totally cloudy outside, if you're in the path of totality, it will still get dark. It's still going to be an eclipse.
It's very cool. Thank you, Sarah. It's 8:40 and 67 degrees. Taking a look outside with live cam. Clouds, it's kind of the theme of today, tomorrow. We're just talking about clouds and why they matter, right, Sarah? But hey, really important to talk about clouds tomorrow with that eclipse. She's going to have that eclipse forecast when we come back. Okay, we're excited. Even if you have eclipse fatigue, and you're tired about hearing about it, it's important because it will impact you whether you're excited about it or not. And of course, we've talked about that we have crews covering this once-in-a-lifetime event, and they are all over, especially in the hill country. We have our meteorologists, Adam Caskey and Justin Horn. They are broing out in Fredericksburg,
I think
Sarah.
so. They're the weather bros, so they're there for the big day tomorrow. They ventured out and got a feel for the mood leading up to the eclipse, and so far, there's no lack of excitement.
Howdy, y'all! What's happening? We just want to talk and say hi. We're just talking and say, I'm Adam, KSAT 12, San Antonio.
Excitement is building in Fredericksburg.
We're completely full, so we're 100% full, and then we have overflow, so boondockers and tent sites.
What do you guys expect to see for the eclipse? I mean, what are you thinking it's going to be like?
Well, I talked to my accountant yesterday, and he said that one of his customers told him that the Mayan calendar is telling him the world's going to end when the eclipse is over. So I'm just hoping to live through it. You know?
Downtown, crowds are slowly arriving.
I mean, it hasn't been like insanely crazy yet, but it probably will be tomorrow and then Monday especially.
People like Ken are traveling from all over the country.
Sabine Parish. It's about 100 miles south of Shreveport.
Good. So how long have you been planning to come up here?
For 2 years. Yeah, we booked it 2 years ago. Yeah.
While the forecast calls for some clouds, regardless, folks here are planning to have a good time.
There's been very few cancellations, has nothing to do with weather, and we will have blue open skies here, so not a problem here.
What are your expectations?
For the moon to get in front of the sun. I don't know what you want, man.
And cut.
I love it.
This guy is my spirit animal. And that's the thing. People are like, they might be tired of hearing about the eclipse. You might be upset about the forecast. I love that people are just there to have that sense of community, have a good time.
It's true.
And just experience it together.
And I know he was kind of joking, but guys, guess what? The moon will go in front of the sun.
It's not wrong.
So it is going to get dark regardless of the amount of cloud cover you experience. Let's talk about our forecast. First, though, I want to get through your day. As you're looking outside right now, we've had some really cool clouds this morning. That's because a cool front is moving through San Antonio. So it's 67 degrees outside, but the important number here is that the dew point is at 36 and humidity is at 32 and the winds are from the north at 15. The humidity has dropped like a rock in San Antonio within the last couple of hours. That's because that front has moved through. You can see the humidity a lot lower up in the hill country and in San Antonio. It's still so humid in Pleasanton, Gonzales, and in Kennedy. Well, this drop in humidity is going to be short-lived. We are going to see some sun today. It'll be really nice in the afternoon with the high of 84 and low humidity, but the humidity rolls its way back in early tomorrow. In fact, before the eclipse tomorrow, you'll wake up in the morning and there will be areas of drizzle and it'll be completely cloudy. And you may think, okay, this is going to be a really bad eclipse viewing experience. But as we head toward totality happening close to 1:30, it varies slightly depending on your location, those early morning clouds are likely to break up a little bit. And so we'll see peaks of sunshine and we'll see peaks of the eclipse through those cloud breaks. And then after the eclipse, you don't need to let down your guard. You need to keep your guard up after the eclipse because there is the potential for a few storms in the later afternoon and into Tuesday as well. Let's talk about Eclipse Day. We are hoping for breaks in the low clouds because we are going to have those high thin cirrus clouds all throughout Texas along that eclipse path. At the surface though, we're going to be watching those low clouds. Early tomorrow morning, they roll in. We'll have areas of drizzle. As we get closer to totality, though, watch what happens. Start to see some breaks in those low-level clouds. We're hoping for enough breaks to be able to see parts of the eclipse. And if you're looking for last-minute changes to your eclipse plan, I would suggest going closer to Fredericksburg and Kerrville, where skies will likely clear earlier than in San Antonio and northwest San Antonio. Skies will likely clear a little bit earlier toward the west near Del Rio and Eagle Pass as well. Across the nation and across Texas, there's going to be better viewing in Dallas than in our area, and there's going to be better viewing of parts of Indiana, Ohio, and the best viewing will actually be in New England, Vermont, Maine. Here are the two options for our viewing experience in San Antonio, the Hill Country. The best case scenario is that our eclipse is partially blocked, meaning it'll be visible between the clouds. I took this picture yesterday because yesterday's weather I think is going to be very similar to tomorrow. Remember yesterday we started off with drizzle, and then as we head into the afternoon we saw peaks of sunshine. You can even see some cirrus clouds there off in the distance and then the low level clouds breaking up. That's one option. That's the best option. The worst case scenario is going to be if it's totally blocked. Again, the sun and the moon will not be visible. However, it will still get dark outside during totality and the birds will start acting all weird and it's going to be really cool, and that darkness will fall quicker than any darkness you've ever experienced. So here's a look at your hour by hour forecast. Patchy drizzle in the morning, breaks in the clouds around noon, and then as we head toward totality, temperatures will drop. We're going to see about a 5 to 10 degree temperature drop between 1 to 1:30. In the later afternoon, I have to mention there is the potential for a few storms, and some of those storms could be strong or severe. That's after the eclipse. We'll keep our eye on that. It's going to be fairly stormy tomorrow, on Tuesday rather, with a 40% chance for storms. And then as we head into the latter half of the week, highs are going to be in the 80s, morning lows in the 50s. Friendly reminder, only half of San Antonio is in totality. We've got an eclipse interactive map on KSAT.com. Check it out. We'll be back with more news after the break.
Taking one last look outside for Ciclavia that happens at 10, goes until 2, where the streets will close down. The street that is getting closed down is North St. Mary's, and actually it's right by Central Catholic, right by KSAT. What you're looking at is a shot of North St. Mary's near Augusta and McCullough. So come on out, bring your bikes, bring your rollerblades, bring your skates, bring the dogs, bring the kids. From 10 a.m. to 2, you can play safely in the streets at North St. Mary's for our Ciclavia that happens twice a year.
Some clouds out there right now, but we're going to see sun this afternoon in 84. A cool front has moved through, drying out our atmosphere, but the humidity will be back by tomorrow morning before the eclipse. We'll have areas of drizzle. During the eclipse, it'll be mostly cloudy. We're hoping for breaks in those clouds so that you can see parts of the eclipse. And after the eclipse, a few storms are possible. Totality occurs right around 1:30, and you can look up your exact location and totality on KSAT right now. A few storms are possible on Tuesday as well. They will dry out for the remainder of the week. Cool mornings in the 50s, afternoons in the 80s. We are going to have a blast tomorrow with the eclipse coverage. And then after tomorrow, I promise you don't have to hear us talk about the eclipse anymore.
I'm still excited.
So excited.
Thank you, Sarah. Hey, thanks for watching. Y'all have a good Sunday.
Happy Sunday.